Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Charting from Blank episode. Pat here. Going to be taking a look at SPX today. Going to be setting out a plan for Q4 along with some intraday and intra-week targets. Let's get into the video. So before I start, just want to say this video is for informational purposes only and reflects my personal views. It is not financial advice, and always consult a qualified financial advisor before making investment decisions. I'm here for simply information purposes only. Let's take a look at SPX. So a coin that historically was in the limelight for a while, was one of the top trending coins, outperformed the market quite heavily back in July at the start of summer, and since it topped into that $2 region has essentially been down only. So we're going to take a look at SPX, the Murad coin, the coin that has a army of bag holders. And I want to see if this is truly topped or whether we can consider a entry for it for a leg up higher. Considering Sol is trading really well at the moment and out of all the majors is leading the market, it could be a good time to be looking at some Sol memes or Sol ecosystem coins for us to look at trading, as money trickles from Sol maybe down into the ecosystem. Just like every episode, we're going to take a look at the monthly. Clearly monthly support here on SPX, which is actually quite a good sign. We're obviously looking at the Bybit pair. There is on-chain charts that have more data than this, but personally I want to work with the Bybit chart. Most people only look at the trading view and the central exchange charts, so we can work off this. So obviously it has that big wick from 2.9, but I really like the look of this monthly support because what we have is that prior all-time high area, which historically was that rejection point for SPX, and now price is looking at reclaiming above there. In fact, we did break through, roll over, and now we're looking at retesting it. We also swept these monthly sort of equal lows during September, and now we're starting to leg up already. I'm gonna mark some more levels, and then we're gonna look at the weekly time frame. Mark some levels on the monthly, and then what we'll do, we'll adjust them as we go onto the weekly. So taking a look at the weekly, this is definitely a very important place for SPX to hold. If I highlight this whole area, we can see how over several months now this area has been a support and has continued to be a support. What we're going to do, we're going to adjust this monthly level on the 162 area to bring it down to here as a more recent level and a more important level in my opinion to be looking at. And then what we'll do, we'll put a level up here towards $2. So right now these look like my key higher time frame levels that we can work with. Currently we can see SPX is trading back towards this 149 region, which rejected back in December or January if you want to call it, and then also June this year before price went on to rally. What I dislike right now on the weekly is this sort of head and shoulders structure. I would really like SPX to invalidate this sort of structure. If it can invalidate this structure, then I would almost guarantee a move towards $2, and then above $2 we could be looking at all-time high. But this structure, based on the fact that this level previously was really important and we failed to hold here, we bounced and then we've broken back through. This could be a sign of weakness for SPX and potentially a sign of a bearish retest into this area. I'm going to mark this high volume node point of control. High volume point of control at 132. We continue to hold around here. If we look on the monthly, it's quite a big place to hold, and on the weekly. So a move back down towards 132, we could consider an entry and maybe a potential higher low into this area to have a crack at actually breaking this 149 area. So now we've got our higher time frame key levels made up. We're going to look at the daily and some lower time frames. Also my new indicator that I've been working on to give us a potential idea whether this is overextended or there's still room to move higher. Now on the daily, it becomes clear and a bit more prominent that this 1.5 area is difficult for SPX. If I highlight it here, we can see we've really struggled to reclaim above there. And if we're considering the fact that this was the bearish retest and we're already bouncing back towards here, then that could be a sign of strength. But it still remains an important place for a flip. Flipping 1.5, we can trade towards $2. Like I said, maybe back towards that 131 could be the best place for a trade right now. What we kind of have is this daily sort of deviation and reclaim. So maybe we have this sort of structure into 132 to form a bottom, and then we can have a stab at breaking this 1.5 res to $2 and or 199 if you want to be more specific. A good short setup that you could take would be if price attempted to trade above here and deviated back below. If we sweep these highs on SPX, I think that could be a really nice short trade to take with an invalidation above there and targeting back towards that 132 area as I just discussed. Okay, I'm pretty happy with the plan that we've got on the higher time frame and into the daily. So what we're going to do, we're going to mark it out on the lower time frame right now. So we know that this 1.5 area is important for SPX. It remains a key inflection point for price. If we get a break above here and a deviation back below, we can take it looking a short position back down towards 132 and even back down to 1.2. This could be a good short trade to take. For a long, I think the best place to be looking for a long right now on SPX is if we reject here and roll over in towards 132, even down to 1.2. Look at the daily, buying the daily into this sort of structure here into 130, 132 into that high volume node POC. I think that looks like a really nice place to be a buyer. The other option is if we do get a true breakout above 1.5 on the higher time frame, a good daily close or weekly close back above 1.5 on the higher time frame, there's a good chance that SPX is going to break out back towards $2 and then maybe even target that wick much higher towards 2.9. But there's a lot to work with here. You know, as we move into quite a key level, there's a lot of ways we can trade it. And I wouldn't necessarily say I'm convinced that we could crack this 1.5 resistance, especially since Sol is moving into 240, the 260 region. It gets a bit dangerous for Sol. So right now I would be looking out for that sort of deviation for a short position back down towards 132 could be the best play right now. And then we can get long under there. So here's the two long plans. 132 or a good weekly and daily close above 155, and here's the short plan, deviation above 1.5, back below we trade into 132, which is my favorable option right now. Now to sort of summarize up and see whether my current system aligns with the plan that's been given here, we're going to take a look and see whether SPX is overextended on the VWAPs. If we do get a spike in towards 153, that could be a good place to get short. Like I said, a deviation above there and back below 1.5, that could be a really nice short to take, especially this week. Be aware of a spike into 154 and a deviation back below there. We could look at taking a short. We have the developing quarterly VWAP at 158 and also the developing yearly value area high at 156. So we're trading back in that developing yearly value for SPX. So I would definitely consider that this could be a good place for a bearish retest into that 156 area, which we already discussed. So right now, that definitely seems like the favorable option for me, looking for a sweep into 156 and some sort of market structure shift to get short back down to 1.3, into the quarterly VWAP, into the yearly value area high, and into the overextended 2.3 to 3 standard deviations of the monthly and weekly VWAP. That is pretty much going to do it for this week's SPX Charting from Blank episode. Make sure you head to the description, check out all the links there, link to join the Discord, posting daily trades and streaming almost every day there at the moment. Posting a lot on my current system that I'm doing at the moment, a lot of trial and erroring at the moment, and going to be teaching that very shortly. If not, then make sure you follow on Twitter, posting there almost every day as well. Hope you have a good weekend and I will catch you guys next week. Bye bye.